This video was brought to you by manco.trade. This site allows you to instantly trade off your unwanted TF2 items in exchange for other TF2 items. By adding manco.trade to your name, you'll also receive a 2% bonus. Check them out in the description below. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Joe and welcome to another list video, and it's been a while since I made one of these. I think the last one I did was actually the one that ended up doing really well. It was a top 5 things that probably haven't happened to you in Team Fortress 2, and you guys actually loved that. It was so well received, so I thought I'd do another one. So today's video is going to be about the top 10 most iconic hats of Team Fortress 2. Now, I actually asked in my Discord, I had about 5 already in my mind, and I kind of wanted to make it a top 10, so I asked in my Discord, and I was absolutely overwhelmed with suggestions from you guys. So, I mean, honestly, I could probably make a part 2 if enough people would want to see that. I could probably do a part 2, so I mean, leave your suggestions down below in the comments of hats that you feel are like iconic to Team Fortress 2's image. And I mean, without further ado, we can just get straight into it. So, just to clear up, iconic Team Fortress 2 hats, in my definition, is hats in Team Fortress 2 that are like a staple. Like, you think of this hat and you instantly think Team Fortress 2, or you think of Team Fortress 2, you instantly think of this hat. So, let's get into number 10. So coming in at number 10, we have quite possibly the item that is known for breaking Team Fortress 2's art style. This was so out there, so different to stuff they'd done previously. It just deserves to be on this list solely for that reason. So coming in at number 10, we have the potassium bonnet. This is the banana hat, okay? You think of Team Fortress 2, you think wacky hats, you think of the banana hat. So this hat is an elite grade all class hat that was introduced to the game a year or two ago. And it's just known for being like a crazy wacky hat, honestly. It's really as simple as that. Like, it's so out there. You can paint it to make a lime green banana or a pink full pink banana, and overall it's just such a wacky crazy hat. So for that reason alone, I think it just definitely deserves to be on the list. It completely broke the normal art style of Team Fortress 2 and really made it sort of more extravagant. Coming in at number 9, we have the Troublemakers Tousle Cap. Now, the Troublemakers Tousle Cap is a Scout exclusive hat, and this is the kind of hat that is an absolute staple to the vast majority of Scout loadouts. I'm sure at one point or another, if you trade a fair amount, you must have had a Scout loadout with a Troublemakers Tousle Cap at some point. And especially painted as well. You ever see a pink Scout or a lime Scout, they're almost guaranteed to have a painted Troublemakers Tousle Cap. And for that reason alone, the Troublemakers Tousle Cap is on the list. Now, moving up in the list to the number 7 spot, we have the Anger for the Sniper. Now, the Anger for the Sniper is quite possibly the most iconic sniper hat in the game. I mean, seriously. When you think of a sniper loadout, 90% of the time it's going to consist of the Anger. It somehow manages to fit into the vast majority of loadouts, when realistically it's such a loud hat. Like, really, it stands out so much, but somehow it looks good with the vast majority of sniper cosmetics. And for that reason, the Anger is the 7th spot on the list. A truly iconic sniper hat. Moving on up in the list, so coming in at number 6, we have the Max's Severed Head. Now, the odd thing about this is, even though it's an iconic Team Fortress 2 hat, it was actually a promo item for a completely unrelated game, which was, of course, for buying Sam and Max at the Devil's Playhouse on Steam before a certain date, which was April the 26th in the year 2010. Now, the Max's Severed Head is, of course, an all-class cosmetic. It used to be a hat, but it can now be comboed with any other hat in the game. It has the cosmetic slot with no equip region, meaning, yeah, it can be worn with any other hat in the game, so you can wear it with a normal hat with these two sort of rabbit ears pointing out. This is an absolutely iconic item, and a lot of higher tier traders have probably owned one at some point or another, especially the vintage ones, which reach several hundreds of keys, when traded. Like, overall, it's just a really classic hat, and once again, it's one of those hats that can be fully painted, so you will often see a lime green rabbit head or a bright pink rabbit head comboed with any other hat in the game. I'm fairly certain on this list it's the most expensive non-unusual cosmetic that's actually featured, so definitely deserves its spot on this list, and a great cosmetic that once again you will see in a lot of sets when playing Team Fortress 2, especially in trade servers. And coming up next on the list, we have the Towering Pillar of Hats. Now this hat is a staple of the Team Fortress 2 sort of hat scene, okay? Even people who haven't played Team Fortress 2 know about this hat. I mean, it's been memed so many times. I mean, I asked about in my Discord, as I mentioned earlier, what hats do you feel are iconic in Team Fortress 2? And someone even said they knew of the Towering Pillar of hats before they even knew what Team Fortress 2 was. Like, it's that like famous. So for those of you who don't know, the Towering Pillar of hats is just the modest pile of hat with like two bigger hats stacked on top of it, and it's a huge hat. Basically, it's extremely like extravagant, obviously not very realistic, it's kind of wacky, and yeah, it's literally that. It's just these hats piled on top of each other, and it's just so iconic, as mentioned previously, and definitely deserves a spot on the list. It's an absolutely famous hat. Coming in at the midway spot on the list, in the number 5 spot, we have an item that actually used to be used as a currency at one point. I'm sure most of you have guessed what it is at this point. We have the earbuds. Now, the earbuds used to be a currency once upon a time, costing over 20 to 30 keys per set. However, they've drastically dropped, and as I'm making this video, they cost 1.7 keys. So that's kind of one reason why the earbuds are iconic in the trading scene, due to the fact they used to be a currency and they dropped so much. The other reason is that, you know, it's a pair of Apple earphones. They go in the ears of the character, it's an all-class cosmetic, and occasionally these little music notes will come out. So it's kind of like it has its really subtle, unusual effects that doesn't really count as an unusual effect. But either way though, absolutely iconic item in the Team Fortress 2 community, just purely because it used to be a currency. People used to trade with this, and things on backpack.tf were priced in buds. And now they're basically, you know, changed compared to what they used to be. And coming in next on the list, we have the item that used to be a reward. People were actually rewarded this item, and I'm sure most of you watching this video actually have one sat in your backpack right now that you've completely forgotten about. However, due to the fact it used to be a reward, it's now seen more as a meme than anything. If you haven't guessed what I'm talking about yet, we of course have the Ghostly Gibbous. Now, the Ghostly Gibbous is one of those hats where it's just a meme at this point. Nobody wears it unironically unless they are new to the game. That's what it's famous for. It's literally iconic and famous for being the hat that the free-to-plays wear. You're awarded the Ghostly Gibbous when you dominate a player who is wearing the Gibbous. So in that respect, it's kind of like an infection. You spend so much time around this person that has this infection, you're gonna catch it, and it stays in your backpack because it's untradeable. Now, as I mentioned, nobody wears this hat unironically unless they're free-to-plays. It's literally famous because generally, free-to-plays won't really have any other cosmetics or hats, so they'll just wear the Gibbous because, hey, I just got a free hat, so I'll wear it. And that's the mentality a lot of them have. You'll generally see it partnered with the mercenary badge as well, but that unfortunately isn't featured on this list. Nonetheless, I feel like the Gibbous, for being an absolutely classic hat that just about everyone owns, deserve to be featured in this list. So then guys, we're coming in now to the top 3 items on the list, and I would say they're not specifically in like a order, but next up on the list we have the Bill's hat. So the Bill's hat, once again, much like the Max's head, isn't actually a hat that started in Team Fortress 2, however it quickly became a staple in the community. The Bill's hat was a promotional cosmetic item available to be worn by all classes, and it was actually available to people who pre-purchased the game Left 4 Dead on Steam, or I think it was actually at a games shop as well. I've forgotten which one it was, I don't think it's a British one. However, if you pre-ordered the game before 2009, November the 17th, then you'd actually get the Bill's hat in game. The Bill's hat is like a soldier's beret, and I actually believe it's based off of the character Bill, which does make sense, you know, it's called the Bill's hat, so that does make sense. And is, you know, it's like a classic Team Fortress 2 hat. It used to be very expensive, much like the Max's head and the earbuds, however they've quickly gone down in price, and now you can pick them up for as little as 2 or so keys. Another thing to note about the Bill's hat is it was paintable, and there weren't a huge amount of like really nice looking paintable hats around back in this time, sort of November 17th, 2009. There wasn't a huge amount of hats that actually looked really good when painted, so the Bill's hat was kind of, you know, it was pretty good for that. It was very hard to get hold of. Obviously, if you didn't pre-order the game, you wouldn't have it, so you have to trade for it. The build hat, when painted, completely covers the whole beret, apart from the little rim underneath it that actually goes around the head, and the Bill's badge, or like the badge, whatever it is on the front of the beret, stays the same. Overall, a very iconic hat, and definitely deserves its spot on this list. So, the final two on the list. Now, these two are actually unusual hats, and they're both iconic for a very similar reason. Coming in at number 2, we have the Burning Killer Exclusive. Now, this absolutely iconic hat, I would have even featured the Killer Exclusive on its own if this wasn't in the list, but the Burning Killer Exclusive is famous for one reason alone. For a long time, it was the most expensive unusual in Team Fortress 2. Now, currently, Burning Killer Exclusive is sitting at a cool 5,100 keys, which equates to about $10,000 or so, give or take. It really does depend on what you price the keys at. However, at one point a couple years back, this unusual used to cost 6,300 keys, which is over $12,000 at the time. This unusual was known about outside of Team Fortress 2. High tier traders in every single game that has some sort of sub-economy must have known about the big trades of the Burning Killer Exclusive. However, it wasn't alone, and that takes us on to the number 1 spot on the list. So, coming in at number 1, I'm sure a lot of you saw this coming, we have the Burning Team Captain. This unusual was recently sold for $14,000 in real money on marketplace.tf, giving it the price of a cool 6,600 keys. However, it doesn't stop there. This unusual at one point costed 8,775 keys. In today's economy, that equates to $19,000 roughly. That's just absolutely insane. Now granted, this was 3 years ago, but this was by far the most anyone had ever spent on any sort of in-game item, and it was famous for that, and I believe that makes it quite possibly the most iconic item in Team Fortress 2 history. Guys, that just about wraps up this list. If you did enjoy, please do remember to leave a like and let me know your thoughts down below. Do drop any suggestions you have for if you'd like me to do a part 2. And yeah, guys, that's just about it. Thanks again so much for watching, and peace.